What's up, guys? It's John Dominique, the Soul Proponent. Today, I want to talk a little bit about some misconceptions about God and the soul and the path to the soul. It seems people think that there's something that needs to happen for them to experience God. It seems that for them to get evidence or to get proof, they're asking for something outside themselves. They want some type of something tangible, something concrete. The misconception is that nothing needs to happen. It's actually the opposite and the reverse. It's nothing needs to happen. It's a matter of figuring out that there's no conditions. So it's really a reversal or an uncovering or a process of elimination. It's not a matter of acquiring some type of information, of figuring something out, of understanding. On some level, there is some understanding that needs to happen, and understanding is that there's no understanding that needs to happen. And it's quite, what's the word I want to say, a lexicon, a conundrum, a dilemma, because it's tricky. If we try to get something, if we try to do something, if we're anticipating something to happen for us to experience God, we're never going to experience it. And we can check this for ourselves. Like, you can check this out for yourself. Every time you try to reach for something, every time you try to search, every time you try to find something, you're not going to find it on the path to the soul. As I said, it's a matter of reduction, of uncovering what's in the way, of uncovering the blocks. So the misconception is that something needs to happen. We need to wait for something to happen. So you're anticipating something to happen in the future. And the process is a matter of staying right here in the now, in this present moment, in this exact timeless instant, and nowhere else. So if we're waiting, if we're asking for something to happen, we're asking someone to give us evidence, that's not it. We have to understand that. Now, it sounds theoretical in theory, but in practice, people don't like that because it reduces the ego, the identity, to nothing and emptiness. And to face that nothing and that emptiness is too terrifying. It's very difficult to do. People don't know, they don't have the capacity, they don't have the know-how, they don't have the willpower to stay with that nothingness and that emptiness, to see what it's about, to explore it. And it seems like there's no permission in the world for that to happen. Society doesn't have anywhere to go for us to practice this. Everywhere we go, there's distractions. We're looking for stuff outside of ourselves. We're looking towards the internet. We're looking in a book. These are all tools that might help us on the way, to understand the path. But once we understand it, we know we have to let go. We have to let go of trying to search, trying to find, and trying to do anything. So the misconception is that we think we can actually do something to experience God and to walk the path of the soul. I propose it's just a reverse. It's an opposite. It's a reduction. It's a letting go of the need to do anything. And this goes very deep because we don't understand how unconscious the resistances are to this letting go and allowing what's there to be there to be. We're always meddling. We're always fidgeting. We're always trying to do something. The stillness doesn't last, if you notice, in our minds. If you ever try to do like some meditation, you can notice that the mind never stops. The activity is always going on. There's always something happening. Now, you might get a little glimpse where there's a small little break in the activity, and we need to notice those breaks, and we need to allow the fact that slowly but surely those breaks will get longer. But most of the times, if you look at yourself in your own experience, you can see we're trying to cover that up. We're not trying to allow or accept the emptiness and the stillness and the silence, because there's always something more important, basically. And that's something that's more important is whatever the ego is trying to idolize, is trying to idealize, is trying to get to the state of self-realization and heaven and God and spiritual awakening. that in itself can become an obstacle because that search, that quality of looking becomes a problem, that activity. So it's a misconception to think that something needs to happen, that we need to look outside of ourselves, that, you know, the evidence is going to come somewhere in the past or from the future or somewhere from someone else. That's not it. It's a reduction, a letting go, a peeling back, a reversing of all of that activity. And again, in theory, this sounds like, okay, maybe that might work, but in practice, that's where the problem, when the rubber meets the road, that's where we have problems. If you try to practice that, you'll know and you'll see for yourself how difficult the path is. Most people will just give up and quit, or they'll just pretend like they don't know any better. They'll just go back to trying to reach and grab for the evidence and the proof outside themselves and act like they're not learning any lessons from that. And that's easy to happen. It happened to me multiple times, and it still sometimes happens to me. But we have to catch ourselves and notice it every single time and see why we're not allowing the emptiness, the stillness to show us that's the way. It's very difficult to do that, to admit to ourselves. The ego is very proud, very, very proud. So we need to see this and understand the misconceptions on the path, because it's real subtle. But if you pay attention, you can catch it and you can practice. Keep that as in the forefront of your mind all the time to notice why and how we're getting tripped up on the path. It's very important if you want to take this seriously. So there's a lot of misconceptions here. I'm just giving a few examples, and I hope this helps someone somewhere. If you need to have any questions, comments, suggestions, let me know. I'm available. Comment, subscribe, like my video. John Dominique, the Soul Proponent.